Well, hello. I a news came out earlier today that Warner Brothers is shutting down Rooster Teeth, which that means Ruby. Well, at least they might be selling off a lot of things like Red versus Blue. They're gonna sell off the IP assets, which so off the bat, Ruby's not necessarily over yet. My name is Brandon Wheeler. I use a straw to talk because when I was in the military, I had heat stroke or something. Can't talk unless I'm biting down on something. Moving on. Um, I decided to make this video with everything. Uh, was Rooster Teeth a perfect company? No. Was there a lot of issues at Rooster Teeth? Yes. What do I have a lot of issues with Ruby? Absolutely, I have tons of issues. Like, I just go off on the bat. Bees shouldn't be canon. I hold that very dear and everything. And a bunch of other issues with Ruby and stuff. Like, again, mostly the bees and other stuff like that. Pushing all that aside, that's not what this video is about. First off, my condolences to everyone who worked there, getting laid off like in an instant, seemingly. That's sucks. No matter what situation you're in, that sucks very much so. So, um, praying for that and everything. But I wanted to talk about Ruby because, ironically, I was going to. I was thinking about, you know what, maybe I should react to the Ruby series, kind of have that on my channel and stuff like that. Well, now I can kind of do that. I'm hoping that Ruby gets picked up and at least continue, at least finish the story out. If it gets rebooted, then okay, but at least finish with the story out. But I just want to talk about, if it is the end of Ruby, talk about it, at least. Initially, I've been on YouTube a long time. I saw a couple of Rooster Teeth things, like I guess they're animated, like adventure things with people talking about stuff and things like that. But even off that, there's mentions of Ruby being advertised to me, and I'm like, I'm not watching Ruby. I'm not watching Ruby. I'm not watching Ruby. And then a few years later and everything, I was like, okay, fine, I'll watch Ruby. It was before Volume 5 came out, about that time. I kept getting advertised like stuff Ruby. I'm like, fine, I'll freaking watch it. So I watched the trailer and the other trailers or so. I was like, okay, interesting. Or did I watch the volume one then the trailers? I think that's what I did. I watched volume one, then I watched the trailers actually. But either way, I started watching Ruby, and it was the Players and Pieces episode. The episode everyone says in volume one where you get hooked on the rubies when you're like, maybe I'll start watching the show. And I started watching everything, and I liked it because it combined two things, or I hit on two things that were very, say dear to me as a writer and person who want to make movies and blah blah blah. There's five things I can say in my life that have been the most influential creative wise. Movie wise, Star Wars, The Wizard of Oz, and The Prince of Egypt. Those three movies are like my favorite movie. And when I say Star Wars, I would say like A New Hope, like because I saw it when they re-released it in theaters. So that, but the other two things would be the Batman animated series, as far as cartoons, and as far as video games, Final Fantasy VII. Because my brother, I watched him play that growing up and seeing how all that hit. Well, Ruby hit on two of those things, Wizard of Oz and Final Fantasy VII. And I thought, you know what, this is cool. And it was. Did I agree with everything? No, there's a lot of things. And then finding out, because I came in late, finding out all the stuff coming in behind the scenes and everything, I'm like, oh, wow, that sucks. Especially finding out the creator died, unfortunately. It's like, oh, man. So picking up the pieces from that is especially hard for everyone involved. And it's just like, man, it sucks. But they want to keep with it, and I wanted to keep with it because I was invested in the show. Because I want to find out how Salem gets defeated. I have my own ideas. But Ruby became I binge watched basically the entire show ever since, and Ruby Chibi and everything. Um, Ruby Chibi's awesome, but talking about how Ruby became important to me was that it just built me up and everything. Like the song "Touch the Sky," which is you know volume 7, I guess. Keep thinking volume 6, but it's volume 7. That song became probably because is where I was at in life. Became like my favorite song out of all Ruby songs. That one is my favorite because everyone talks about the soundtrack or the action or some of the characters and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but that song probably has become my favorite. I when I went into basic, I even wrote someone to, hey, could you send me the lyrics to that song? I'm not joking. I had a friend. They wrote me the lyrics to that song while I was in basic, so that I kept that on me. Besides a bunch of Bible verses, I would read that and be like, "This is a pick me up." Fortunately, I got with rain eventually because I always kept it on me. It got all wet. I think I threw it away. I might still have it. I have to look for it though. But it was um it was always interesting to me. And I think it was on the anvil. It might have been on the forge, but I think it was on the anvil. Because certain things when you're in basic, where you have like three field events. There's the hammer, anvil, and the forge. At least I remember what that was called. It was in September 2020. I don't know what if they've changed it now, but it wasn't during the hammer. I think it was during the anvil. No, it had to be the forge. It's either during the anvil and forge. But anyway, when you go into those bathrooms, the porta potties and stuff you have outside. For some reason, people draw on them and everything like that. For some reason, when I was doing my business in one of those porta potties, on the wall, I kid you not, on the wall, someone wrote, "Ruby is awesome." And I just thought that was so amazing that someone is like, someone actually wrote Ruby? And of all things in a porta potty, someone actually wrote Ruby on the wall? What? It brightened my mood up, essentially seeing like someone liked the show and everything. And then, so that brightened my mood up for a lot of basic. I kept thinking of that and basic, like, that's awesome. Then I got the AIT when, volume, was it volume 8 coming? Yeah, it was volume 8 coming out. Actually had a guy who liked Ruby as well, and part of my AIT thing when I was in Leonard Wood, Missouri, we got to talk a little bit about Ruby and stuff. Seeing he's wrote his own kind of fan fiction stuff too. I'm like, oh, okay. I've not written any fan fiction, just saying, but I mean, he's written his he's written some stuff and everything, but I got someone to talk to about Ruby. I'm like, oh, cool. I've actually seen a couple people with some Ruby merchandise and everything. Like when I was on deployment in Poland, there was a guy with the Ruby sweater. And I was like, hey, I like your sweater, man. He was like, oh, thanks. So to say that I haven't seen Ruby, non-related Ruby stuff is interesting. While I was in Korea, I actually sent for these. I sent for the different Ruby figurines. These things. I got, oh gosh, there goes the bottom for Yang. I got the whole collection thing. So there's Weiss and everything. Blake. I didn't show right. Blake. But I also did Ruby Grim Eclipse, which I have the entire playthrough of all the characters, including Team Juniper, my channel as well, because I wanted to do that. I wanted to do the other games, but they're not available for Mac. They're only available for Windows, which, me being a Mac player, I can't play, so that sucks. Uh, Over the period of couple years, I even got the Funko Pops, everything. Ruby, Weiss. I should have done Ruby, friends, Weiss, sisters. And of course, I got these things from Good Smile. They made ones for Team Juniper. There's Pyrrha, Nora, Ren, and John. But more importantly, out of everything, this was the more recent thing. 10th anniversary. It's bigger than everything else. I ordered this when I was on deployment, and I waited till I got home to make it. I was like, oh, I'll get something for like that. But out of everything, it was not even an official Ruby related thing put out by Rooster Teeth, but Yeah, I'm showing my merch stuff. This picture by Niku Senpai. I I originally wanted to get this before I went on deployment, but then I went on deployment, so I couldn't get it. So when I got back, I wrote him again, like, "Hey, do you still have this?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Good, I'm ordering it." But the Forever for All Pura picture, I originally saw this, I believe, on Instagram. Someone posted it or whatever, and I immediately liked it because, of course, Pura is everybody's favorite character. Literally, everyone's like, "Oh, Pura's awesome." Everybody likes Pura. Her and Penny are the two characters everyone likes of Ruby. So when you watch it and you're just like, oh boy. But Pura Nikos did in fact become one of my favorite characters and one of my favorite characters, period. But goodness. So that picture is actually very special to me for important to me for a lot of reasons. But also for a different reason. Something kind of unrelated but related. I recently started just came out with my first book, a fantasy series. It's gonna be set in the land of Zetas. If you open up and you see what the map is, you're like, "Hey, I know this place." Yeah, but this character on the front, I'll tell you her name. Her name is Meadow Hollyhock, or Meadow Hollyhock. It might be Hollyhock. I say Hollyhock. It might be pronounced either way. It's fine. But part of the inspiration for this character was Pierre Nikos. She's mixed with a couple of other things and stuff like that, but part of her uh, inspiration and everything, was Pyrrha. Pyrrha was a partial inspiration for this character, but of course mixed it with other characters, not fully based on Pyrrha, but just some inspirations from that character. But yeah, it's on Amazon and everything. I'm not here to do my book. I'm not here to advertise my book. That's not what this is about. I'm just telling you where I'm from, like how much this show has impacted me and everything. I know this video is just a rambling guy just talking about a show, but does the show have issues and everything? Yeah, it did. A lot of things I don't agree with, but I can't deny what this show meant to me. And I really hope someone picks it up and can at least finish the story. Finish 10, 11, 12, whatever it's supposed to go to. At least finish the story. Give us the finished story. Of at least what they were going to do. And then if you want to reboot it, fine. But at least give us to what it was supposed to. I mean, there was the Ruby Ova thing of like the Invincible Girl I watched the other day. I almost made a reaction thing to it, but I was trying to get my brother to react to it or my brother to watch it. I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch it. I'm not gonna react to it, but I really like that video. Just FYI, how Pierre was OP. Everything was OP. It was just like, this is awesome. But it's good that there's fandom stuff still trying to continue Ruby, and for now, it's gonna seem like that's gonna be the way it is. But I hope Ruby continues. I really do. But if this is the end, I hope it's not. I know the song's like, it's time to say goodbye. I don't want to say goodbye. Not really. So yeah, hashtag save Ruby, all that, but thank you. I know nothing was perfect. It's been up and downs and everything, but hopefully Ruby can be continued. But thank you, Ruby. Thanks to all the people who helped Ruby, who helped make it and everything. Thanks to everyone who worked on it, different stuff. But now we got the songs, we got this stuff. I don't even buy merch. I'm not even a merch connoisseur and everything. I got a couple things for inspiration. For like, hey, this inspired me. Like I got that thing from Joe Cat, because I wanted to have something to kind of freaking help me get me into like fantasy and the Dungeon Dragon stuff. Because part of studying for that book, because Doki and all that stuff, trying to study up fantasy and everything, like reading Lord of the Rings and stuff, I got that as kind of like, hey, I like the little bobbling thing. But Ruby, gosh, despite the issues Ruby has, even the detractors, you could say I'm be one of the detractors on the side of the spectrum. You could kind of say, I would say, although I'm still medium and something, I would say you can say I'm more on the detractor side. You cannot deny the potential Ruby had, and the two words that describe Ruby is potential and special. To at least to me, if nothing else, Ruby was special to me. And I know it's special to a lot of people for a lot of different reasons, whether you like them or not. Ruby is special. And yeah, I don't want to see it go. At least unfinished. Can we do a crowdsource thing to try to like finish the show ourselves, or I don't know. But so I know this video's going on long enough, but just thank you everyone. Thank you for the time and the memories and memes and the show and the songs and everything else. Maybe one day touch the sky again. So thank you and good luck to all of you. God bless.